What does it mean to you having music played live to a film like this? Something that doesn't normally happen, of course.
Yeah, and obviously when I wrote this score, I didn't think it was going to be performed, and it's huge thanks to Ben Corrigan and Sam Wilson, who basically reverse engineered it into this performable version, but not just because it's all electronic. It so easily could have been very small and insular and contained and kind of laptopy, because it is a huge sound, but they've made it using these amazing mallet cats, these kind of xylophone trigger instruments, essentially, which make it feel physical. You'll see they're working their arses off, and it works for the music because the music's big, and so it feels like you need to have almost that physical connection to it.
Well, let's take a step back then. How did you first get involved in this film? Who approached you, and why did you take it on?
So Bo Burnham wanted, who's written and directed this, obviously, wanted to use some of my pre-existing, like my band music, in the film already. And then I think he was looking for a composer, and he had a kind of quite specific idea of what he wanted. He wanted a composer who was classically trained, but now working in electronics, and with a kind of warmth, and into a degree, or a boldness and a warmth is what he said. So he contacted me. It was my first score, and it was such a gift. I realise now, as I'm doing more and more work with film and TV, how special and how lucky I was to be given essentially so much space in this film. The music is quite, which I love, it's still quite sort of unusually loud and present. And someone said it's almost in some moments like a series of mini music videos, which is an amazing thing. So obviously quite often as a composer you're like louder, more in every film you're making, and here he wanted the music to carry a lot of the weight of the film. He said, I want you to, even though the subject matter is a teenager and her life, but to treat it as seriously as if she was in a different film diffusing a bomb, or something really serious or really tense, and so to lean into the anxiety of it and give it as much weight and power. So that's the kind of challenge I love.
What I find fascinating at the moment, there seems to be a real fashion in film right now, and The Brutalist, which won the Oscar, features what we in classical music call contemporary music, very new, fresh sounding, unusual music, and there's a lot of it in movies right now. There's a lot of really interesting composers, yourself included, that are often on the experimental side, who are now getting this chance to write music for movies, which really didn't happen very much until relatively recently. Why do you think that is? What is it about this music that is resonating with directors?
I mean, it's exciting. It feels like, almost why not? Like, if your film looks amazing and you've got an incredible cast or an adventurous script or a sort of brilliant bonkers concept behind it, let the music match the ambition of everything else. And it does feel exactly like you're saying, that there's more, that directors or the teams are able to take bigger risks, are able to say, yeah, we want the music to be distinctive, we want it to be bold, we want it to be memorable, we don't want it to sound like other film scores, and that's great, that's exciting.
Yeah, a lot of your music has been used in movies, hasn't it? You haven't written it for the movies, but it's been used in the movies. What about the different experience of that? Because you write music for one thing, and then it's used for something else entirely. How does that feel as a composer? Oh, obviously quite nice to have it in a movie, but it's not the way you intended it.
Yeah, and I think that's something, I guess the whole, writing for film is a process. The other side of what I do when I write for my band or write commissioned work, I'm in complete control of the full stop when it's done. And film is a collaborative process where, you're all serving something bigger than yourself, you're serving a story. And there's great things about that, and there's frustrating things about that. So having your stuff used, anywhere, I think 10 years ago me would have felt really frustrated when maybe a whole track isn't played, and you're like, oh, I set that up properly so that this moment blah 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 blah. And I don't know, now I just feel a bit more happy, chuffed that anything gets picked up at all. And and also it's exciting when the way like a few tracks of mine keep being used for a documentary about humpback whales. So yeah, go for it.
Why not?
Yeah, sure. I think trying to control what anybody else, the older I get, the more I think you just can't. So much of my music over the years, people have tried to or tell me, oh, you're this, so it's here, it sits here, 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 and I don't think of writing that way, and so I've sort of just stopped worrying about it and let other people figure it out.
We're actually doing 2 films with live orchestra or players in the festival. This tonight, of course, and on Monday we're doing The Silence of the Lambs with live orchestra at the Barbican. And there are tickets still available, so do come to that. It's an extraordinary experience. I mean, a great movie, of course, still has enormous impact, but that's a very different score to tonight. But the live element, I think it makes it a completely different experience, doesn't it? It's not just coming and watching a film. I think one of the great powers of this is that you feel the music as much as you hear the music.
I think that's it, and it's obviously especially here, and I'm so grateful to you and grateful to Stuart for programming this piece on this. You know, I love it when my music can be loud and blown up and big scale, and this is obviously about as big as it gets.
Yeah.
So
Almost everything from now on will be a lot slightly.
I'm not coming unless it's an IMAX. So it's brilliant, and I'm so, I was thinking initially, oh God, where the player's going to go, but it is actually, as live scores go, this live score, because it's all electronic, is able to be quite relatively portable. You know, we can be in a small space like this making a huge noise, which is, but hopefully still in a physical way, you know, not just sort of, I think you get a sense that this music is being played.
Well, thank you very much, Anna. And as I say, it's just such an honour to have you here and have you featured in the festival. Really excited about this screening. You get a chance to sort of sit and relax.
Yeah,
now.
I can't wait. Great.
But there are 3 guys who are going to be working very hard tonight. So thank you very much, Anna. And ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome the... thank you. And will you now welcome the players who are going to play Anna's score tonight. And we have Sam Wilson, George Barton and Ben Corrigan. Thank you very much and enjoy the movie.